Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Hospitable Hosts podcast with me, Miles Hobson, the head of marketing at Hospitable, and our guest today, Misty Krengle. Misty is a customer of Hospitable and she's based down in Galveston, Texas. She has over 50 properties in her property management business portfolio, and today we're going to learn a bit more about how she got started and how she grew to over 50 properties. So if you like today's episode, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Let's listen in now. Okay, hello, Misty. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. So, Misty, for people unfamiliar with you, they don't know who you are, can you tell us a bit more about yourself and maybe about Pacific Properties Management?
Sure, sure. So I am the co-founder of Pacific Properties Management. We are based in Galveston, Texas, and we have a portfolio of 52 properties, and we have some in Houston, some in Port Aransas, some in Crystal Beach, but the majority of our properties are right here in Galveston, Texas, and Jamaica Beach.
Nice, okay. And originally, you were not a short-term rental host. It's not something you've been doing forever.
Correct.
What were you doing before that? Give us a bit of background on you.
Yeah. So I and still am. I am a registered nurse and have been for 22 years. And I started in labor and delivery, and customer service has to go a long way there. And my son got into real estate, and he came to me and said, "Hey, I'm kind of throwing this idea around. We both live here on the island in Galveston." He goes, "I'm kind of throwing this idea around. What do you think?" And the more we kind of started discussing, I brought something to the table that he didn't, and he brought something to the table that I didn't. And so the perfect match was married. And that's how we came upon this. We had a couple friends that really needed management, and we thought that it would be a kind of a little side gig. And next thing you know, we really became passionate about it. We got good at it. We learned a lot. And next thing you know, we had a couple people asking, "Will you take us on? Will you take us on?" The next thing you know, we have a business and we've got 52 properties. So here we are.
Amazing, yeah. It's kind of snowballed a bit, eh? Nice. So you went from a few properties to 50 plus. How many years did it take you to grow to that point? Have you been in it for a couple of years now?
Yeah. So this year we will have, April will be our 5th year doing this. And we've onboarded and offboarded. Some people sell their houses. It's a rental, just depending on some, the STR game is tough, and it's not for everybody. And sometimes they'll sell their houses and we'll lose a couple properties, but we have very low turnover. And, but April will celebrate 5 years.
Nice, impressive. That's great. And has it been kind of like, would you say, steady growth over those years, or was it kind of a point where it's just like suddenly boomed for you?
Yeah. So we got in right after COVID. And as you know, everybody had a great boom then. It was fantastic. And the first couple years, easy street, right? Everybody's got these short-term rentals. Everybody's got stimulus checks. Everybody can travel, but you can't travel too far. So truthfully, we had a really good start. We had to learn very quickly when the market changes and people can now get on planes and they can go elsewhere, and maybe budgets are getting cut and things like that. So we have to pivot and we have to look at some different options, and how do we make it work, make it worthwhile.
Nice. And it sounds like obviously you had a lot of success at the start, like you said, the COVID boom years. Was there anything that you found, challenging though? Like, what were the growth pain points when you were first starting out? Like, there was a lot of demand, but I imagine at the same time that kind of comes with its own challenges too.
I think in the very beginning, learning how to operate a house, because like I said, we had a lot of traffic coming through this property. So our challenge then was learning, on our feet, how to operate a house, how to, get turnovers and cleans done in 4 hours, and maintenance in there. And we have a special challenge. We do live on an island, and we call it island time here. Sometimes the surf's great and people don't want to do handyman work. They need to go and take the day off to surf. So that sometimes is a challenge for us, learning on our feet, making sure that we really curated a really good team. But I think it lent to making us better on the back end, because we had to learn so fast how to operate the house that on the back end, now that we don't have those challenges, we're really good at operating a house now, making sure that everything's turned over. We can get most problems are fixed before a guest ever knows that it happens.
Nice, I like that. And I assume that, like say you kind of know the house, get to know the process. Do you standardize a lot of that process across properties? So when you bring on a new property, is there kind of a go-to playbook that you now follow?
Yeah, so we definitely onboard the same way with every single property. But every owner is because they're all owned by different people. So some of them are investors, some of them are just a married couple that wanted to have a vacation home down here and they're going to rent on the side. So you really have to. We have a boutique style where, while as much as we possibly can, we streamline and we standardize most operations, and we kind of let them know this is how we do things. But whenever you've got a married couple that this is their vacation home and they have curated their home, and whenever you meet these people, we have one client that she has decorated the master bedroom to remind her of her grandmother. Well, guess what? Anytime that cushion, that bedspread has a stain on it, I'm going to treat that a lot differently than I am going to treat the house that's down the street that has an investor with four investors in it. So you do have to get to know your owners, and as much as we can of the process, standardize it. We do still have a personal touch and a just complements the owner depending on what their goals are.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then it sounds like you're taking on a range of owners and a range of properties then. Is there any kind of, do you say no to people? And kind of what's the decision factor in saying no to people?
No, that's a fair question. We, when we first started, we said yes to everything. Absolutely. We wanted the business and we said yes to everything. We don't anymore. Sometimes we don't fit the model and sometimes they don't fit ours. And that's okay. Sometimes we're not about, we really want to give a guest experience. We really want to make sure that we're getting those 5-star. If we don't feel like we can achieve those 5 stars across the board in a space, then it's probably, we just don't want to set ourselves up for failure.
That makes a lot of sense. And then just kind of thinking about, you touched on already kind of cleaners and maintenance and the challenge with island time. How does Turno play into that? Because I know that you're a Turno customer as well as being a Hospitable customer.
So whenever I first got Turno brought to me as the head of operations, I was like, no, we do not need another system to do. We don't need to learn something else. We got it. So I was digging my feet in the sand and did not want to bring on a new system. However, Turno is now my best friend. So I'm the biggest cheerleader for it. It's been fantastic. Every single one of our cleaners, they have their checklist, the obvious things. Every single one of our handymen are on there. And then we also do something, it's an island concierge. And we have a concierge group that, let's say we have a owner that comes in or a guest that comes in and they're getting ready for their vacation. Our concierge team actually goes, picks up their groceries, brings it in, puts it in the refrigerator. It's ready to go. It's very plug and play whenever they walk in the door for their vacation. They also use Turno. So we use it as much as we possibly can now.
That's cool. That's great. I love that. I didn't realize that you did that as well. The concierge team is
it's new to us, so we're super excited about it. Yeah.
Nice. That's great. And then thinking about the cleaning, obviously it sounds like you're working with great cleaners. I assume you still have some, to know that they're great and to make sure that they're doing a great job. You presumably do some kind of quality control checks there. Is that something that you have in place?
So each of our cleaning teams, they have cleaning leads. So their cleaning lead goes back behind them as well to make sure that we get all the photos. They've double checked all of our checklists to make sure that everything's done. In addition to that, we go behind every 3 months. It's quarterly that every single one of our properties is checked by either myself or our assistant property manager. One of us is going to lay eyes on that property. At that point, we're checking everything. We're checking lawn care, cleaning, making sure that everything's stocked well. Just doing a once over. If there's just basic maintenance that needs to be done on the house, maybe the siding is got something going on or a tree limb's falling or anything like that. But yes, we always, so we kind of had 2 checks. One is a more constant check, and then we go back behind and do a more thorough check behind our cleaners.
Nice. And is that, you said the quarterly check from yourself. Is that like a surprise inspection, or do you kind of schedule that ahead of time? How are you doing that?
Yeah. So for me, I know exactly when it's scheduled. It's scheduled every three
Yeah.
months. For the cleaner, not necessarily. And that has to give and take. Sometimes I'm going to jump in there. We always try to make sure we come right after the clean has finished.
Hmm.
That way we get a fresh clean on it. We know exactly what's been going on. They don't exactly know what our schedule is. They know they're going to come every 3 months. They know we do come because we also send them a report afterwards. If we find any little, any challenges, anything that we think that they can improve on, they get feedback from us. They also get the good feedback from us as well. But, most of the time, if I have a guest that comes in and let's say they say something about, and this actually happened with us, we had somebody come in and say, we don't have any toilet paper. And we were able to go into the picture that the cleaner left, and it showed her time-stamped picture with 3 toilet paper sitting on the back of the commode. So we utilize that a lot too. Anytime that we have a question about something, we go back into their pictures. We can kind of see, what things look like. And if we have any questions, of course, then we schedule an inspection and actually go out.
Nice. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. Great. Obviously, would love to ask you about your experience with Hospitable as well. So when did you start using Hospitable, and how has that been helping your business?
Yeah, we used Hospitable from the jump. That was, Tyler had put that in. My partner had put that into place from the very beginning, and so we know nothing else. I'll be very honest. We have shopped elsewhere to see, are we in the best position? Are we set up the best? And we had a couple things that we were looking for. I know he was looking for some owner statements and some. There was a few things that we were kind of looking for and looking at different avenues to see what would happen. Hospitable integrates things so fast that it wouldn't be worthwhile changing while you're waiting for the next thing to come on. So we all just say, "Yep, just put that in the plug of what you would like next because it'll come." But yes, we've used Hospitable from the very beginning. We've used some of the integrations. It's been, the joke is that we, as of late, don't know that we can keep up with the changes. Y'all had a lot of changes quickly, so it's nice, it's great, but we're like, hang on, we didn't even know. We use the thermostats, we use the locks,
Mhm.
fantastic integrations. We love them.
Fantastic. Yeah, we are releasing things at a rate of knots. It's difficult for everyone to keep up. We appreciate that. We need to communicate even better on all the updates. And then tell me a little bit about, it might not be your area of expertise in the business, I guess, but messaging guests. Obviously, Hospitable has a lot of automation, but am I right in saying that you also use VAs, virtual assistants, to help out too?
We do. Yes. So we have 3 VAs. They stagger out shifts. That they love the messaging, and we are really utilizing the Knowledge Hub.
Mm.
We're really trying to perfect that. I think that the only thing that they have is if they give a wrong answer, then you've just taught AI the wrong answer. So you got to teach it to unlearn that. So I think that's been our biggest challenge as of yet. But overall, we're also implementing a good system where every single time that you guys send an email that says AI did not generate a message, we're utilizing that to our advantage because every time that y'all do, okay, why didn't it generate a message? Let's get that information in there to just better for the next time.
Nice, yeah. And I don't know if you saw this update, but we actually do put the reason now why the message wasn't generated, right? So we let you know
Yes,
so that in theory you should be able to action that and add it into your knowledge
absolutely.
base.
It's fantastic. And I don't have to read through 2 days worth of a guest message to find out with that little note at the bottom. It's just a nice summary. I can also tag whatever VA is on and say, hey, I love it. I love y'all's integrations. They've gotten fantastic.
Nice, great to hear. So thinking about kind of advice for others, I guess. So you've gone from just a few properties to 50 plus. You've really managed to scale. What is kind of, if you're a host with 1 to 3 properties, what would you say is kind of the first system or process that you'd be putting in place? And I'm not necessarily trying to look for a hospitable plug here, but kind of just thinking about, the business
Yeah.
process as a whole.
No, I do think, I mean, and that's just not, that's not stroking any egos or anything along those lines. I do think you have to have hospitable or you're going to get yourself into trouble. I mean, it's just with the bookings and everything else, and it just makes your life so much easier. It just with the messaging and there's times, like I said, we do have VAs that are behind the computer messaging, but there are times I had one of my VAs. She was sick in the hospital on the ER. So guess who got to take over? That was me. I jumped in, and it was nice because I didn't have to be directly behind my computer. Everything came to my phone. We have the app, so we were able to trade off and make it work with our local staff as well.
Nice, awesome. And then just kind of thinking about, again, going back, if you were to start all over again and from just a couple of properties, is there anything that you would do differently from the get-go? Have you had any kind of major missteps where you wish you could kind of turn back time, do things?
I don't know that we had any. I don't know that we had any major missteps. I will definitely attribute this to my partner, who is a stickler for the details. He wanted everything set up perfectly from the get-go. We didn't skip any corners. We didn't, we didn't shinch on anything, and we made sure that everything was set up correctly from the jump. I think that on the back end, I do recall thinking, man, we're just going way overboard on this. It's really saved us. So just setting everything up, going through all the training videos, every time that we have a VA that comes on or a new staff that comes on, we do have local staff as well. Anytime that they do, day 1, day 2, they're going through hospitable training videos. They watch every single one of them. Then we have some videos that are internal for us as well, but that's day 1. They need to know the system. So, and then their next, nice. Even my inspector, who, she doesn't do messaging often, but I do throw her in there sometimes because I think it's important for everybody and it gives everybody a full circle picture. But same thing, sometimes she has to take 4 hours and you're going to do messaging for the next 4 hours. And I like to do it right at check-in time where it's always hairy,
I like that strategy. Even at Hospitable, being a new hire in the business, whatever department you're in, everyone gets to kind of have a little taste of everything, right? And we shadow the support team and we shadow the sales team to understand, the real challenges that hosts facing every day. So I think it's very valuable to do that.
Absolutely.
Cool. And then kind of what are your plans for Pacific Properties Management? Is it further growth? Is there kind of new systems and new plans in place for the team? What does 2026 look like?
Yeah, so we have for 2026, we kind of have an overall year plan. So the summer is really our busy season. Usually we are grinding. We are very operational heavy. We're fixing little things that happen around the house. Just fast and furious bookings back to back. What we are in right now in January, it's cold here. We'll get a little bit of a peak at the end of February because we have Galveston Mardi Gras, and then we'll hit spring break, and then we'll hit the end of school year and prom and all that sort of thing. But right now is kind of that sweet spot that we don't really like to call it our slow season. We like to call it our value season because this is when we're going to implement any systems. We're going to retrain staff on any challenges that we've had just to make us better along the way. So that's really our main focus right now, is picking up those pieces and making sure that we have a really good staff. Everybody's trained well. We have a good streamlined system for any challenges. Like I said about the AI with the why something wasn't generated, we're really going in and digging deep. So why wasn't it generated? And let's get it to where it does. And then, our next thing is we've grown very organically, and we've very much been word of mouth. And in order for us to grow, we are going to have to learn how to market. And it is probably our weakest link, is marketing our direct booking. We rely heavily on the Airbnb and VRBO platforms and booking.com. And so this year, our focus is shifting where we are going to do some more marketing. We have also elicited with Boostly. I know you guys integrate with them as well, and trying to get those direct bookings up and get our name out there a little bit more. And, we're a contender where you used to have really big management companies on the island and we were just small fries. And now that's no more. We're definitely a contender in there.
Nice. That's great to hear. So on the topic of marketing, obviously want to give you a chance to kind of let people know if they're interested, if they're an owner of property or they're self-managing and they're looking for a property manager, where do they go to find out more about you?
We have our website is staywithpacific.com, And we're super proud of our website. You can click a link there. You can schedule a meeting at any point in time. You can ask questions. We even have a little direct message at the bottom that if you want to do a chat, when you're chatting, we get you with a VA immediately. They respond. A little bit further discovery call is usually with Tyler or myself. Yeah.
Amazing. Perfect. Thank you very much, Misty. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Sure. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks again for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, and listen out to a new episode coming soon.